Good to see everyone. Thanks for being here. I feel like the last 8 months have flown by, and now we're finally to game week. So excitement in our building and within our organization. We've got a structured week in front of us. So for us, our players will practice on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, we'll do a sprint through work in the afternoon before we go to the hotel, and then a day's setup of meetings. We're on pace and on track to where we need to be. I think our depth is starting, at least for this week, we're starting to figure out who will be in an active role and who we can count on to get in position to play winning football. It's always a work in progress, and tomorrow will be a big emphasis on what that looks like for our structure of who's going to be with the ones, with the twos, how's that rotation look. Our Tuesday and Wednesday practices are set up where it's a lot of, obviously, looks against our opponent, but also we still will continue to do good on good work throughout the course of the season, because I think it's important that you get as good a speed as you can get working against each other. And there's got to be smart, and you got to practice the right way. But our system will take over now the approach of what our in-season structure of practice looks like, and our kids understand that. Last week we did a Monday practice and a Tuesday practice for what this week will look like. So they've got an expectation on what those 2 days look like. Back in the spring, we did a Thursday, Friday in season. So the repetitions of that are so important. The emphasis on the preparation, on what that takes by position, not only on the field, but the practice habits, sleep, controlling the hydration and your diet, and then also the film study. And every position coach has set things on what we need to get accomplished day in and day out to be in position to hopefully play as good as we can play on Saturday. So from a health standpoint, I think we're about as good as we can be coming out of fall camp, which is exciting. I think we've got an opportunity to be able about as full strength as we can be. And a lot of things can happen between now and Saturday, but I think a lot of that credit goes into our sports medicine area, our nutrition area, and most certainly strength and conditioning and Jeff Fish. So I'm excited where that looks for our team. Coaching staff has done a nice job on putting together a game plan for week one. We obviously know that there are a number of changes that will take place throughout the course of the game, in-game adjustments, how that looks, how well can we be a step ahead, what changes can we make to give our kids an advantage to go play fast. And then at 1 o'clock, we get to tee it up and go play. So exciting to be at home for our first game and to get into the routine and the flow of what our game weeks look like. So with that, I'll take any questions, and thanks again for being here and covering our team.
Personally at UNLV, right? Just how long have you kind of been envisioning this week, and what are you looking forward to most on a personal level?
Yeah, I mean, trying to take more of that out of it. I respect the question. So I've looked forward to it since December 6th, and maybe even December 5th or 4th, whenever Harp and I had the first conversation. I'm excited to be in this role, in the chair of being a head coach. I'm honored to have the opportunity to lead this team. I feel great responsibility to get our program back to where we need to be in competing and winning championships. And this will be the first step of what the competition looks like. And we all know that it's a results-driven business. We're judged on results, not effort. So now's the time, and we get a chance for 3.5 hours on Saturday for our first one to see how good we can get the team. But personally, I'm really excited. I'm excited to take this team into the arena for the first time. I'm ready to see how we compete. And I challenged them. I think it was Friday evening. We don't need to be anybody other than who we are. You've done the work, and now we've got work yet left to do. But if we'll prepare like it's a nameless, faceless opponent, and we'll get in position to take our team bottom line and play one snap at a time, and do it with great energy and enthusiasm, we'll play really well. And so that's a challenge between now and then. Continue to talk about that message and be who we are and go execute.
What goes into naming your captains?
Yeah, I think we waited a little bit later into fall camp. It's a team vote, and everybody we had 110 guys in camp, and they all got a vote. Voted for 2 on offense, 2 on defense, tallied them up, and I think that's a really good reflection of what the team thinks that who our leaders are. So I wanted them to have the say in who the captains are. I think that's important. But then also every week, at some point, we will name another captain to have 5 each week. So we're excited about the 4 that we have. I think they all are leaders in different ways, some more vocal than others, some by example. But overall, I think it's a great representation of our program.
Specifically, why choose Amani Trigg-Wright on the O-line, on and off the field?
Yeah, I think you look at what Amani has done, really, and I told him the other day, if somebody would have told me in January that you were going to be the team captain, I would have been surprised. And he wasn't because of something he wasn't doing. He would work on the field, off the field, in the weight room. I really never heard him lead and speak. So I think he has grown in that role with respect of the team, and really in every situation, I'm proud of him, and I think he can be a tremendous leader for us.
Coach, this season in college football, the clock doesn't stop after a first down. I wanted to ask you, how does this rule impact you, this rule change, the way that you call a game? I would imagine that it's difficult to get substitutes on the field, and it might favor teams that they play the time of possession game.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to look at what that really will impact. And I know I saw a quick study after week 0 games. I think it was 5 to 7 plays difference in a game in totality, but also it still took the same amount of time because of advertising minutes. So offensive guys are always going to find a way to get their plays. And I say that respectfully. Someday, long from now, when I'm retired, I'm going to be the head of officials in all of college football. And I'm going to sway it back in the defensive favor on substitution, on all those things. So we've got to understand that. We've got to understand game planning. And we do. We've spent a lot of time talking about what that's going to look like. And then you look at it on the defensive side, the structure of making the call, getting the sub, matching the substitution. So I think before, at the end of the season, we'll get a better feel because we'll have more information to work with on really, did it change the game that much? And if so, do we need to make adjustments?
In the defensive backfield, allowing the players to self-substitute, or is that going to be something that's communicated more throughout the beginning of the year?
No, we'll substitute. We'll have a set plan going in, and they change. We'll have a set plan that we'll start visiting as a staff tomorrow after tomorrow's practice, and then Thursday we'll set what the game rotation will be, and they adjust with injury and as you're mentioning, the pace of play. But I'm not going to throw somebody on the field that's not ready to go try to play winning football because of pace of play. So we'll get enough guys ready to go. There'll be a rotation, and hopefully we can stick as close to that as possible. We make a lot better decisions on a Thursday afternoon in the calm of a meeting than trying to make those decisions throughout the course of a game in a crazy environment.
Talked about Doug's growth last night, but what do you want to see from him?
Yeah, I think you get into game week for all the quarterbacks, the importance of understanding the game plan. We've had enough reps now for him to exude confidence, the leadership that we're looking for, and then above everything else, taking care of the ball. I think that's so important. There's going to be time to take shots down the field. There's going to be times, for him to tuck the ball and run. Just protecting the ball is so important, especially in early games. The turnover margin needs to be in our favor, and a lot of that will be on how the quarterback plays.
Coach, you've gone through the spring and now the fall, and you're a week out. You mentioned you want this team to be who it is. Kind of, what is this team?
We'll see Saturday exactly what, and I've said our practice habits will become game day reality. And that's so true. And how we practice on the field, if they're good habits, they'll show up when the lights are on. And if they're bad habits, they're going to be exposed. So, I want a team that is disciplined, that plays extremely hard. They care about each other and play with great enthusiasm for each other, celebrate the success of our team in all three phases. And for 60 minutes, lay it all out there. Play as hard as you can play, almost with blinders on. Just be in the moment, get in the flow of the game, enjoy playing the game. They work so hard to get this one guaranteed opportunity. Let's have some fun with it.
What went into the decisions when sorting out kind of the depth chart of your running back?
Yeah, I think you look at really when we started early August on protecting the ball, understanding of the offense, being able to block and protect, and then how they catch the ball out of the backfield. Those would be 5 of the things that really went into those decisions. I do think that we'll play a number of running backs throughout the course of the season, not just the 2 or 3 that were on the initial depth chart. I would say that will be more by committee, especially as we get into weeks 2, 3, and 4 down the stretch.
Do you have any specific goals for kind of each of the phases of the game?
Well, ultimately, you mean the objectives in all 3? Win will be the most important, and then offensively, defensively, and kicking. They've got all different benchmarks we try to hit that usually, if you hit those, they align in winning. Turnover margin, I mentioned, eliminating explosive plays on defense. And then in the kicking game, one of the big ones is average starting position, field position, and that's something that we track. That really doesn't go in the stats a lot that are noticed, but that is so important to really the outcome of the game.
Coach, when you see what the Aces have done and the Golden Knights have done here in our city, does that inspire you to go out there and draw?
Absolutely. I think we all learn from our surroundings and the experiences that others are going through. And that would be one for us because it's home, it's here, and the success that they've had, the reasons, and then the effect of that with the city, how important that is. We need college football to be important in the city, and I feel that responsibility.
Coach, kick return, punt return by committee.
Yeah, we'll have a little more clarity on that tomorrow. I think Jacob DeJesus right now would have the lead in both areas. But there's also Dom Jacinto, Irvin, Jet Thomas, and Jeray Williams all have an opportunity in both areas. I think they all bring something to the return game that can benefit our team.
When you talk about your defense limiting explosive plays, what do you consider an explosive play? Like what's the?
Yeah, it'd be a 15-yard run or a 20-yard pass. So we need to be we've got areas we want to hit in that, and if you do, then you've played a pretty good defensive game. So usually, if you can stop the chunk plays and make the offense drive the field, your success rate goes way up. So that and third down defense, the longer the third down yardage is, obviously the defensive percentage usually goes up. So you got to be good on first down, get them behind the sticks on second down, and then hopefully get them in the 3rd and 7+. Those are all things that we target, and there's success that usually follow those areas. He's played a lot of spots. He's played the high safety on the roof. He's played the nickel position. He's got position versatility, and he's a smart football player, IQ-wise. And he's a playmaker. He understands, he's good in man coverage. He understands the zone concept and filling the run fit, setting the edge of our defense. He's done a nice job of that through fall camp. So those are all things that went into him at that spot. And then also, depending on situation and personnel grouping, we can move him around at a couple of different places. And that speaks to his knowledge of the defense and then just the way that he plays.
Which are there any different, like personal emotions for you a week out from a season when it's Arkansas, Missouri, Memphis, whatever, now here UNLV. Is it the same? Is it different?
I probably get a little more cranky if you were able to ask my family that question, which is a bad trait, I would think. I've tried to work on that. I'm anxious for our team. I want to go play well. I want to make sure that our staff has done every single thing that we can do to give our kids an advantage. I think I'm better over the years through experience. I think that becomes so. There's always something new, right? There'll be something I want to walk out of here of an issue you need to address. That doesn't ever change day to day. You got a 110, 18 to 22-year-old. They've got 110 sons, plus 2 at home and a daughter. There's going to be some things you navigate through each day. But I think perspective, I also look at the reality of the opportunity that I'm in. I'm very thankful. And again, I'm honored to be the head coach here. My family's really enjoyed getting to know Vegas. I'm thankful for Eric Harper for the opportunity because these jobs are hard to get. And then you pour into it. You understand how impactful you can be with your staff on your student athletes. And it is a game. We want to win. Also, there's so many things that go into getting to game day that are built over time and can be so rewarding in the relationship piece and the human element of what sport is.
So you have 2 place kickers listed. I guess how is that going to work?
Yeah, I think I think Jose has earned the job and extra point and field goal. If we're maybe a longer attempt, we could see the other guy. Kind of depends. Also, I need to see him, and Coach Chivas needs to see him Thursday, Friday, and in game warm up on how we're looking there. But I feel comfortable in both of those guys, and our team has confidence. We've seen it day in and day out, either in a 2-minute situation or field goal period, that they've been very, very steady. And a lot of that goes from the snapper to the hold to the kick and then the protection. So I feel like we've got an area there in special teams that can be an advantage for us.
Coach, you talked about the city of Las Vegas. Can you expand a little bit more on the importance of the city of Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's so huge. Yeah, you look at student athlete experience, you look at what does that look like for this team. I think there's excitement, there's energy. You start to feel some of the passion. We know we need to win, but we also understand how important people in the stands, how that can create an atmosphere for student athletes and their experience, but then also a home field advantage would be huge for us. And we need to create that for a number of reasons. And I think the opportunity for college football to be back in this city, we need to embrace it. The city needs to embrace it. I need to give them a reason to be in the stands.